Welcome everyone to this section on modules and packages. In this lecture, we're going to start off by talking about PyPi with pip install. PyPi is a repository for open source third-party Python packages. And if you've worked with other programming languages, it's similar to RubyGems in the Ruby world, PHP's packages, CPM for Perl, and NPM for Node.js. So far, we've really only used libraries that come internally with Python. And these are known as the standard library or the built-in libraries for Python. Things like the math library. Now there are many other libraries available that people have open sourced and shared on PyPi, and these are also called packages. And we can use pip install at the command line to install these external packages. By installing Python from python.org, or by installing the Anaconda distribution, as shown earlier in this course, you actually have already installed pip. And pip is a simple way to download packages at your command line directly from the PyPi repository. Now there are packages already created for almost any use case you can think of. Python is a hugely popular language and it's growing very quickly. So that means if you ever want to work with Python with some other external use case, maybe you want to make web development with Python. So you would Google around and eventually discover that there's libraries such as Django or Flask for web development with Python. Or maybe you have a more specific use case, like working with PDFs with Python or working with Excel documentation with Python. In that case, you can always do a quick Google search, and almost always the links that come up first are either the PyPi page for the package or the package documentation. And we'll show you a little exercise of what a good Google search looks like. So what we're going to quickly do now is show you how to download and install external packages. To do this, we'll open up our browser, but we're also going to be working at our command line. So remember, for Windows users, that means open up your command prompt, and for macOS and Linux users, that means open up your terminal. So let's have a browser open along with our command prompt. Okay, so here I am at my command line, and let's show you how to install a package that's hosted on PyPi. Something you do need to be aware of is that your firewall may block pip from accessing the internet. So if you're on a work network or you're on a work computer that you don't have full admin permissions, you may need to check that or talk to your network administrator. But let's move on. And what we're going to do here is type PIP install space, and then here's where you would actually put in your package name. So there are a ton of packages out there. We're going to start with a package that you may already have installed because you've installed Anaconda, and that's the request package, which allows you to request information from websites online. So this is just a general syntax of how you would download a package. Notice here, I'm typing this directly into the command line or directly onto my terminal or command prompt. I'm not actually calling Python first. This is a command line utility. So you hit enter here, and you may get the requirement already satisfied. Most likely, if you installed Anaconda, you already have requests installed. So this is what it looks like when you already have it. What I'm going to show you now is a library that you most likely do not have yet, and that's the Colorama library. And this is just a bit of a silly library that allows you to print out colorized text at your command prompt or at your terminal. So type pip install Colorama, notice the spelling here, hit enter, and we actually already have it installed because I ran this line already. So what we're going to do now is run the actual Colorama external package that we just installed. So what I'm going to do now is type Python, and let's try checking out Colorama. So to do this, it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is say from Colorama import init, and then on the next line, call init. So basically is a bit of an initialization function that allows you to set up depending on what platform you're using. And then what we can do is say from Colorama import, and what we're going to do here is say import for, so that's capital F-O-R-E, which stands for foreground. And then I will create a print statement that says for dot, and then in all caps red, plus, and I will just say some red text, and then hit enter. And now you see I have red text. And we can do that with a variety of colors. So I can say now print for green plus switch to green. And now we've switched to green. So again, just a very simple library that allows you to incorporate color directly at your command line. This is not a library we will ever really be using again, but it's just something fun that you can play with. And you can check out the documentation simply by Google searching Colorama. What I want to show you now, let me quit out of this Python session, is show you how you would actually create a Google search and what kind of things to expect to pop up when you're looking for an external package that you may not know ahead of time. So for example, let's try to solve the problem of trying to work with Excel files in Python and figuring out a package that allows us to do that. So when you're looking for a Python package for any particular workflow, it's always best to start with just a simple Google search. And I know hopefully this seems pretty obvious, but a lot of times the best thing to do, and pretty much everybody does this, no matter how experienced a developer they are, is you just Google search Python package for, and then whatever they're looking for, whether it's Excel, for PDFs, and you should always end up seeing in the top results some sort of link to helpful information. So let's start off with the example for Excel. And as we scroll down, we'll eventually see python-excel.org. And if you click on that link, it actually reports back a bunch of packages that are available. OpenPyXL, XLRD, XUtils, a ton of stuff that you can play around with. So then what you end up doing is you either go to the documentation or you go straight to the download link. And typically when you go to the download link, it takes you to the Python Software Foundation website for PyPi, so pypi.python.org. And here's just official information about the actual package. Depending on how big the package is, if it has more users, it almost always has a separate documentation page, and the documentation will be linked somewhere in the top few lines. So you click here on package documentation, and it will take you to the official documentation for that actual package. And a lot of times they're hosted by readthedocs.io. So now here we see some nice documentation, and what we can do is figure out how to install it from this documentation, or typically what you end up realizing is it's always just pip install and then the name of the actual package. So we know that it's OpenPyXL. Let's now go back to our command line and install it. So then here, back our command line, what we're going to do is say pip install OpenPyXL, hit enter, and I've actually already run this before, but that's how you would install a package from the internet from PyPi. And then later on, you could call Python, and then you should be able to import OpenPyXL with no issues. That's the basics of using pip install with Python and figuring out what external packages are a good fit for you. Hope that was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to post to the Q&A forums. Coming up next, we're going to learn how to create our own modules and packages using Python. We'll see you there.